Hey there! Welcome to Living Stoic Way. This channel isn't for people looking for quick comfort, it's for those who want real strength and resilience. Stoicism shows you how to stand firm through challenges, control your emotions, and master yourself. If you're ready, let's dive right in and start the journey together. Intro: When life falls apart and you don't know what to do. Have you ever felt like the whole world suddenly changed color? In just a single moment, I have. One morning, I woke up and realized a door I thought would always be there had quietly closed. No warning, no reason. It was just gone. Maybe you felt that too. Losing someone you love. Being pushed out of a job you gave a decade of your life to. A breakup text that ended years of love in a single sentence. Or maybe just that strange sense that nothing is the same anymore. We grow up believing that if we work hard, stay kind, and put in the effort, life will be okay. But then one day, life knocks. Not to give you something, but to take something away. And the first thing to disappear isn't time or money. It's your calm. I still remember that feeling. Not crying, not screaming, just a silence so deep you could hear yourself breaking inside. Questions crashing like waves against a cracked wall. Why me? Why did everything fall apart? What did I do wrong? How am I supposed to get through this? And the sad truth is, no one prepares you with answers. But then, almost by accident, I stumbled across Stoic philosophy again. Not in a textbook, not in a lecture, but in a single line scribbled in the notebook of an old friend. Amor fati, love your fate. At first, I laughed. Love my fate, love the losses, the pain, the wounds. It sounded ridiculous. But from that ridiculous moment, I dug deeper, and I discovered Amor fati isn't a cheesy slogan. It's a skill. A mindset forged and tested over thousands of years. Because here's the truth, every one of us will face hardship. Not if, but when. And in those moments, the only choice left is how we respond. You can get angry. You can collapse. You can drown in endless what-ifs. Or you can choose to walk forward like a stoic, not because you're numb, but because you understand what happens when it was meant to happen. And if you can't change the event, you can change yourself, so you can keep living with clarity and dignity. The philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you that hurts, but how you see it." I won't tell you it's easy, it's not. But once you start training yourself not to fight fate, but to walk with it, learn from it, and transform through it, you begin to see. Peace doesn't come from a life without problems. Peace comes from the strength to stay whole inside them. My friend, I'm not here today to help you avoid hardships. I don't have a formula to make your life smooth, because I, too, have been lost, broken, and shaken. But I want to share one thing. You don't have to collapse with what is collapsing. You can choose calm in the ruins and take your next step with steady feet. Amor fati is not a slogan. It's an attitude. It's the choice to face reality with wisdom and courage. To love the path life has given you, even if it's not the path you wished for. And if you're hearing this in a dark chapter of your life, I want you to know you are not alone. You still have a choice, and you can begin again from within. In the next part, we'll explore Amor fati more deeply and how to make it your compass through life's storms. If you're ready, walk with me. And remember, calm is not a destination. It's the way you walk every single day with an open heart and a steady mind. Part 2. What is Amor fati? The art of loving what comes. You know, There's a Latin phrase that completely changed the way I see everything that once felt wrong in my life. That phrase is amor fati. Translated simply, it means love your fate. Amor fati comes from ancient Stoic philosophy, but it wasn't until the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche repeated it as a way of life that the modern world began to see it differently, not as a dry concept, but as a bold way of living, a path for those who walk through suffering without letting it destroy them. Nietzsche once said amor fati, a love of fate, not merely to accept what happens, but to love it as if you had chosen it yourself. When you first hear that, you might laugh or frown. Love your fate. Love the very things that broke you. Love the loss, the disappointment, the mistakes. It sounds paradoxical, maybe even a little insane. But let me tell you a story. A few years ago, a close friend of mine lost almost everything in less than 6 months. His wife left. His business collapsed. His health failed. When I saw him again, I didn't see a broken man. I saw eyes that were quiet but steady. I asked him, "What kept you standing?" He smiled and said, "I stopped asking, 'Why me?' and started asking, 'What is this here to teach me? I didn't choose this situation, but I can choose how I live with it.'" And that is the essence of amor fati. Amor fati is not passive acceptance. It's not, well, it happened. I guess I'll just deal with it. It's not surrender. Amor fati is the active choice to love what comes, even when it's not what you wanted. Not because you love pain itself, but because you believe there's a gift hidden inside pain if you're brave enough to open it. The Stoic doesn't deny suffering. They don't pretend they're fine. They don't paint over failure or hide their tears. Instead, they accept it all with courage and clarity. They look at sadness and say, "I see you." They look at loss and ask, "What are you here to teach me?" They look at hardship and whisper, "Thank you for coming." The beauty of amor fati is that it doesn't ask you to be cheerful all the time. It only asks that you don't hate your life. You can be sad, you can feel disappointed, you can even be angry for a while, but eventually, you return to the question, what if this is an essential part of my journey? What if I could use this very thing to become stronger, deeper, better? Think about the scars you carry not on your skin, but in your soul. Each scar tells a story, a struggle, a lesson. And sometimes, it's those very scars that make you the person you're proud to be today. If you erased every painful memory, you might erase the very strength that defines you. Amor fati teaches us this. Everything good or bad is a perfect piece of the whole puzzle you call your life. Only when you stop fighting fate can you live alongside it with real freedom. And in a world obsessed with achieving and controlling, amor fati is a gentle reminder. Let go of what you can't control and welcome what comes as if you had invited it in yourself. In the next part, we'll explore a difficult truth, why we so easily lose our calm when life crashes down and how everything changes once you start practicing amor fati daily. If you're ready to stop hating your fate and begin walking with it as a companion, then keep going with me on this journey. Part 3, the difference between acceptance and resignation. Before you can truly live with the spirit of amor fati, there's something crucial you need to understand. A distinction that, if you miss it, can trap you in a mental prison. It's the difference between acceptance and resignation. At first glance, they may sound similar, but in truth, they are worlds apart. And only one of them is the path the Stoics would choose. What is resignation? Resignation is when you let things happen and you stop trying altogether. You stop resisting, stop hoping, stop believing you have any choice left. It's a kind of spiritual paralysis. It's like driving a car and then letting go of the wheel, just sitting back and watching as your life crashes wherever it may. Resignation sounds like this: whatever, it's already done. I can't change anything anyway. Might as well just keep quiet and endure it. That's not peace. That's surrender. What is acceptance? Acceptance is a conscious choice. It's when you look reality straight in the eye without denial, without sugarcoating, without judgment, and say, this is what's happening. I don't like it, but I acknowledge it, and I will act as wisely as I can within it. Acceptance is not ignoring the storm. It's refusing to let yourself be swept away by it. It's standing in the middle of the storm, not screaming, not panicking, but acting with dignity. The Stoic doesn't resign. They don't teach you to suffer in silence. They teach you to see things as they are and then move forward with reason and resilience. Example: losing a job. The resigned person retreats into bitterness and shame. They say, it's over. I have no value anymore. The accepting person responds differently. They face the fact, I no longer have this job. But then they ask, what do I need to do now? Could this be an opportunity to learn something new, to take a different direction, to find a better fit? What can I do right now to keep my dignity, even if the situation isn't what I wanted? Acceptance doesn't make you weak. It demands enormous inner strength. Because to accept means giving up the illusion that you can control everything. You can't control someone leaving you, but you can control how you choose to love after. You can't stop hardships from coming, but you can choose how to face them. You can't rewrite the past, but you can always act rightly in the present. One thing I've learned after years of practicing Stoicism is this: acceptance isn't giving up. It's giving up the illusion that life must go your way in order for you to be happy. So if you're in the middle of hardship right now, if you're exhausted from trying to force everything to be perfect, if it feels like you're fighting against the whole world, I invite you to pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, am I resigning or am I accepting, so I can move forward with awareness? In the next part, we'll look more deeply at why we lose our calm so easily when life falls apart, and why amor fati is the key to regaining peace, even in the middle of collapse. If you're ready to step out of resignation and live with conscious choice, then keep walking with me. Part 4. Why do we lose our calm when life falls apart? Have you noticed something? We don't usually lose our calm because of what actually happens. We lose it because what happens is not what we expected. I remember a friend once told me, I'm not sad because they left. I'm sad because I believed they would stay. I'm not afraid of losing my job. I'm afraid because I thought it would last forever. I didn't break because of reality. I broke because it didn't match the dream I painted. And that's exactly it. What hurts us most is not reality itself, but the shattering of expectations we've held on to for too long. We expect people to always be kind, to understand us, to never judge. We expect jobs to stay secure if we just work hard. We expect love to last forever if we're sincere. We expect life to be fair if we live good lives. And then one day someone changes. A contract gets canceled. The person you love turns away. Or something terrible happens to someone good, and we collapse. Not because the world is too cruel, but because we believed it should have been different. The Stoics see things differently. They don't expect the world to always bend to their will. They prepare themselves for the possibility that things may turn out otherwise. Not to be pessimistic, but to avoid being blindsided. A sunny day might bring rain. A lover today may turn distant tomorrow. A flawless plan might fall apart because of one unexpected twist. The Stoic doesn't resist that. They learn to welcome it as a natural part of life. They don't expect people will never hurt them. They learn to be strong enough not to break when hurt comes. They don't expect work to last forever. They build themselves to be valuable anywhere, under any condition. They don't expect emotions to always be positive. They learn to observe emotions without letting emotions control them. I know letting go of expectations isn't easy, because expectations give us a sense of safety, and when that safety shatters, we panic. But here's the difference. Living with Stoic thinking doesn't make you cold. It doesn't mean you stop loving, stop hoping, or stop caring. It means you live with a deeper awareness. I'll give my best, but I won't cling to the outcome. I'll live kindly, but I won't expect everyone to be kind in return. I'll build for the future, but I won't chain my peace to a fixed script. There's a line I always remember when life feels chaotic. Expectation is the root of disappointment. Acceptance is the root of freedom. The Stoic doesn't try to control the world. They train themselves to control their mind within the world. And because of that, they're not so easily swept away by storms. They stand steady, not because the world is gentle, but because they've forged a strong stance within themselves. So, if you're losing your calm right now, if you feel hurt, disappointed, or unfairly treated, ask yourself, am I resisting reality, or am I just clinging too tightly to an expectation? What could I let go of right now to feel lighter? If I stop demanding life match my script, what new opportunity might I see in this moment? In the next part, I'll share with you practical ways to live out amor fati in everyday situations and how to keep your mind steady even when life keeps testing you. If you're ready to live real, live awake, and live unchained from expectations, then let's keep walking together. Part 5, Practicing Amor Fati, How to Stay Calm in the Middle of Chaos. There's a truth I've seen again and again in my own life, and in the lives of people I've walked with. It's not the crisis that destroys us. It's how we respond to it that decides how we keep living. Amor fati isn't a pretty phrase to read on a quiet afternoon. It's a guiding light, especially in the darkest hours of your life. And if you're in the middle of a storm or want to be ready for when one comes, here are 3 things you can do to stay calm, stay rational, and stay dignified. 1. Accept the situation fully. The first step, and maybe the hardest, is acceptance. Not the kind of acceptance that gives up, not the kind that sighs. Well, I guess that's just my fate. But acceptance as a conscious, steady, intentional act. When you lose something, a relationship, a job, an opportunity, the first reaction for most of us is, what if? What if I had done things differently? What if it could have turned out better, if only just a little more? But you know what? That's the fastest way to stay stuck in the past. And you can't move forward if you're staring at a closed door. The Stoic chooses differently. They sit down not blaming, not running, and whisper, I didn't choose this, but I choose how I face it. And with that sentence, you take back your power. You're no longer a victim of circumstance. You become the one who steps forward. 2. Find meaning in the pain. Once you've accepted reality, the question isn't, why did this happen to me? That question only leads into the maze of anger and self-doubt. The real questions are, what can I learn from this? Who will I become after I walk through this? Because pain, if you let it, becomes your greatest teachers. No lesson is clearer than the ones you learn when your heart is broken. No growth is stronger than what's forged in the nights you had to rise alone in tears. in confusion, in silence. And yes, in the middle of it, you may not see any meaning at all. But trust me, once you make it through, you'll look back and realize you were reborn. Pain isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new, wiser, stronger version of you. 3. Remember the mantra Amor Fati. When everything collapses, when there's nothing left to hold on to, whisper this Amor Fati. I choose to love what's happening because I believe it came to make me stronger. Not pretending to love it, but choosing to love it as a deliberate act, as a commitment to yourself. I will not let this defeat me. I will use this to rise, not to retreat. Amor Fati isn't a lullaby to soothe you. It's a spiritual sword cutting through fear, slicing away doubt, helping you rise again with the stance of a stoic warrior. In the next part, I'll share practical tools to train Amor Fati daily, not just when life collapses, but in the most ordinary of days. Because Amor Fati isn't just for surviving pain, it's a way of living so you stand steady even when the storm hasn't come yet. If you're ready to live actively, not reactively, to live deeply, not shallowly, to live with reason, not just fleeting emotion, then keep walking with me. Part 6, Real-Life Situations. How does a Stoic respond? You might be wondering, all of this sounds good, but how do I actually live it when everything falls apart right in front of me? That's a fair question, because Stoicism isn't the philosophy of people sitting in ivory towers. It's the philosophy of real life, of blood, sweat, and tears. And it gets tested not when things are smooth, but when things break. Let's step into some familiar situations where the difference between an ordinary reaction and a stoic response becomes clear. When you lose your job. Maybe you've experienced this, or you know someone who has. An unexpected email, a tense meeting, a short announcement, "We're sorry." The first reaction for many people is, "I've failed. I'm useless, abandoned. Why would they treat me like this?" Then fear takes over about money, reputation, self-worth. Everything crumbles in a moment. But the Stoic, they feel the pain too. They feel the shock. But then they pause and ask a different question. Could this be an opportunity, not just a loss? They don't see being laid off as an ending, but as a turn, a chance to redefine their path, a reminder, maybe the old road no longer fits and now is the time to build or find something truer. I didn't choose to be let go, but I can choose how I rebuild myself. When the one you love leaves, few things cut deeper than being left by the person you trusted most. Sleepless nights, memories replaying over and over, the question that hurts the most, what did I do wrong? The usual reaction is self-blame, doubt. I wasn't good enough. I must have deserved this. But the Stoic chooses a gentler path with themselves. They say, I loved fully. I was honest in what I gave. Their leaving doesn't erase the value of my love. It just tells me it's time to learn a new lesson to love myself more. They don't deny the pain, but they don't let the pain define them either. They use it as a chance to turn inward, to heal, to grow. When an unexpected accident strikes, sometimes there's no one to blame, nothing to fix. Accidents happen like fate striking without warning. A car crash, a sudden medical diagnosis, a loss you never saw coming. And once again, we're tempted to think life is unfair. Why me? What did I do wrong? What am I being punished for? The negative mind goes in circles, searching for answers in a universe that offers none. But the Stoic, they quietly admit, I cannot control this, but I can control how I respond. And That's where real strength begins. They don't deny the pain, but they refuse to let pain destroy their spirit. They ask, what can I learn from this moment? How can I keep living with courage? How can I inspire others through something that seems like only suffering? Stoicism doesn't turn you into steel, numb and cold. It helps you feel more deeply but not drown. It gives you a steady ground to stand on even when the world around you is falling apart. In the next part, I'll share daily practices to make Stoic thinking a habit so that when hardship comes, you don't have to rehearse. You're already ready. If you're ready to live not just reacting, but choosing your actions with awareness, then let's keep walking together. Part 7. Daily Practices, How to Train Amor Fati Every Day. You know, Amor Fati isn't just an idea you pull out when life falls apart. It's not a slogan you hang on your wall. Amor Fati is a life skill, and like any skill, it has to be trained every day, just like a muscle. You can't only think about it when the storm hits. You have to live with it in the most ordinary days. And slowly, you'll build an inner core solid as rock, unshaken by life's waves. So how do you actually practice Amor Fati daily? Here are 3 simple but powerful techniques I use for myself and share with others. And if you stay consistent with them, they will transform the way you respond to everything in your life. 1. Rewrite the story. Every night, before going to bed, I take a few minutes to rewrite one thing that didn't go as planned that day. Maybe I was late to a meeting. Maybe someone replied to an email in a disrespectful tone. Or maybe I just didn't perform the way I expected. And I rewrite it from a Stoic perspective. Instead of today was terrible. I missed my deadline. I write today I missed a deadline that's a reminder I need to organize my schedule better and learn to say no more often. Instead of playing the victim, I become the student. Every event, big or small, turns into a lesson, and this daily rewriting keeps my mind from drifting into negativity. 2. Say thank you for what didn't go right. I'll be honest, this was a practice I used to hate, because who wants to thank life for the bad stuff, right? But then I realized when I learned to say, thank you for this rejection, thank you, because this made me look deeper into myself. Thank you, because the setback gave me a chance to train resilience. My mind softened. You don't have to thank the pain itself. You only thank what it reveals about you. Because nothing shows you who you are more clearly than the moments that didn't go your way. Try it. Make it a habit to say thank you, not to fake positivity, but to remind yourself I'm training, I'm growing, and I won't waste the challenges life gives me. 3. Controlled negative visualization. This may sound the opposite of positive thinking, but for the Stoics, it's one of the most powerful techniques for peace of mind. Each morning, before the day begins, I take a few minutes to imagine what's the worst that could happen today. Maybe I'll make a huge mistake while recording. Maybe the project I've poured my energy into won't be received well. Maybe I'll disappoint someone. Or even this could be my last quiet morning. I picture it, but I don't panic. I picture it so I won't be surprised. And, strangely, it makes me live more fully in the moment. When you accept that the worst can happen, you're no longer a prisoner of expectations. You're free because your mind is already ready. Stoicism doesn't make you numb. It makes you feel life more deeply because fear and illusion no longer control you. You know the bad can come and you still choose to live beautifully, fully, peacefully. In the next part, we'll go deeper into the Stoic mindset of transformation, how to turn hardship into fuel for growth, instead of a dead end. Because a Stoic doesn't just endure pain, they use it as the raw material for evolution, and so can you if you learn to see it in the right light. Part 8. Amor fati is not passive living, it's active living with inner strengths. I need to make this crystal clear because this is one of the biggest misunderstandings about Stoicism, especially amor fati. When people hear love your fate or accept reality, they often think, so I'm just supposed to stand still. Does that mean I stop trying? Stop caring? Is acceptance the same as giving up? No, absolutely not. The Stoic does not live passively. In fact, they are some of the most active people I've ever seen because they don't act out of panic, but out of clarity. And that makes all the difference. Acceptance standing still. Imagine you're sailing a boat. Suddenly, the wind changes. You could complain about the wind, curse at it, wish it blew differently. Or you could accept that the wind has shifted and adjust your sails. The Stoic chooses the second path. They don't just sit there and drift. They observe. They adapt. They keep rowing without resentment. They act not in defiance of reality, but in harmony with it, like a musician playing along with life's melody instead of forcing it into their own tune. Amor fati is a fire, not a blanket. Someone once told me Stoicism is just teaching people to surrender, to accept life as it is, to be passive. I laughed, because I know they didn't understand. Amor fati isn't surrender. It's a fire, the flame that keeps you walking, even when the road is dark. The Stoic doesn't freeze when hardship comes. They act, but not from panic. They move forward, but without clinging to outcomes. They fight, but not in resistance to life. They do everything they can and release what they cannot control. Reason guides. Emotions don't get erased. Some people worry that living stoically means becoming emotionless. But Stoics don't try to kill emotions. They just don't let emotions drive the car. Anger may rise, but they don't act out of anger. Sadness may come, but they don't let it make them surrender. Anxiety may whisper, but they keep walking with intention. There's a quiet strength in the Stoic, not loud, not showy. But when life breaks down, others look at them and say they didn't collapse. They stood there steady as a mountain. And you can be that too. You don't need to erase your feelings. You just need to put reason back in the driver's seat. You don't need to sit still to accept. You can love your fate and act fully with what's in your hands. That is true Stoicism. That is amor fati alive, not on paper, but in the daily choices you make. In the next part, we'll step into a closing perspective how to weave this philosophy into your everyday life, not just when the storm comes, but even when things are calm. Because amor fati isn't only for the dark nights. It's the lantern you carry every day, so even if the outside lights go out, you can still find your way. Part 9. When you live with amor fati, your life changes. Have you ever asked yourself, what would happen if one day I truly lived with amor fati, not just understood it, but let it become the rhythm of my days? I've asked myself that very question, and I want to share this with you not as a philosopher, but as someone who has fallen and learned how to stand again, one step at a time. When you live with amor fati, the first thing you notice is this: you no longer panic when life changes. Life is always moving. People leave. Opportunities slip away. Plans fall apart. Before, every time this happened, I felt like I was losing control, like being pulled out of my comfort zone and dropped into empty space. But when you truly live with amor fati, you start trusting life's flow. You stop clinging to the illusion of stability. You loosen your grip not because you're weak, but because you're steady from within. Then something else shifts. You stop overreacting to failure. No more beating yourself up for weeks over a small mistake. No more sleepless nights replaying every word you said or every choice you made. You learn to see failure as just a natural part of growth. You don't avoid it. You don't fear it. You accept it, learn from it, and move forward. Like an athlete who stumbles but doesn't curse their own legs, they just stand up, brush off the dust, and keep running. And one day, you start to see opportunities even in the worst moments. It feels strange at first, but it's real. A painful breakup becomes the chance to return to yourself. Losing a job opens a path you never imagined. An illness slows you down only to reveal how long you've been missing your own life. When you live with amor fati, you stop asking, "Why is this bad thing happening to me?" And instead you ask, "What is this trying to teach me? What can I do with this?" rather than just wishing it away. And that shift in question changes your whole journey. In the end, you discover the most valuable truths. Peace doesn't mean a life without storms. Peace means the storms no longer carry you away. The waves will still come. Life will still bring the unexpected. But you are no longer drifting. You're no longer just a leaf carried by the current. You are the one steering the boat steady, quiet, and fully aware. And in the final part, I'll leave you with a message not as a conclusion, but as a small seed you can carry with you into all the windy days ahead. Part 10, a message from Living Stoic Way. Maybe you came to this video because you're going through something hard, or maybe you just want to prepare your mind for life's unexpected storms. Whatever the reason, I believe this. You've chosen the right path. Because today, you're not learning how to run away from pain. You're not being told to fake being okay, or to trick yourself that everything will work out somehow. Instead, you're learning how to stand inside the pain and not let it define who you are. You're learning how to take the cracks in your heart and turn them into doors toward a stronger version of yourself. You're not learning to avoid hardship. No, you're learning how to walk straight through it. Steady, quiet, like a true Stoic. You're learning to embrace both the light and the dark, knowing both are necessary parts of the human journey. And you stop asking, "When will life finally get easy again?" Instead, you begin asking, "How can I keep moving forward no matter what happens?" Because peace is not a destination. It's a path you choose every single day. When you wake up and say to yourself, "I can't control everything, but I can control how I respond." When you fail, and instead of running away, you whisper, "Amor fati, I love even this, because it's here to help me grow." When life throws something unwanted at you, and instead of collapsing, you say, "I'll use this as the foundation for a stronger me." In that very moment, you are living Stoicism. You are mastering yourself, and you are lighting a lantern not just for you, but for those around you. Thank you for walking with me in this video. If you found value in what you just heard, don't hesitate to share it with someone who might need a little more steadiness in their own mind right now. And remember this, you are not alone. Every mindful step you take today is a footprint on the path of peace you're building for yourself. I'll see you in the next video from Living Stoic Way, where we never promise that life will be easy, but we always believe that you are strong enough to live with whatever life brings.